Everybody thinks making sourdough is so complicated. I'm about to simplify it for you. Let's go. Here's everything you need to make a loaf of sourdough. A lot of these things you already have in your house. You don't need all this fancy equipment. Now there are a few things that you do need, like a scale. Do not get this scale. No offense to this scale, but it works for other things. This is my original scale. I used it for 2 years. It is possible, but when you're trying to balance a bowl on it, it's hard. So this is the scale you need, something like this. It's flat and it can, you can put anything on it. It's good. Not that exact brand, whatever, but something like that. Okay, so you need a scale. You need this, a dough scraper. Very important. Everything else, you probably have at home. Salt, bread flour, all-purpose flour, Dutch oven, measuring cup, bowls, parchment paper, plastic wrap. This is something else that is not necessary. We're going to use our hands today in case you don't have it, but I highly recommend if you're going to make bread often, get one of these. It's a dough scraper also, but it's silicone. Okay, and everything else you can see. You do need a rubber band or a dry erase marker. I'll show you why in a minute. And this is to score your sourdough. It's a razor, but today we're going to use a knife because you probably have a knife at home. Okay, and that's it. Let's get started. Today's process is going to take about 10 hours. Obviously not straight through. You take breaks here and there, but you got to allow and know that it's going to take a while. And then tomorrow morning, all you do is bake it. So that takes about an hour and a half. First, we're going to feed our starter, activate our starter so we can bake. So get in a container like this. It doesn't have to be this. Sometimes I use one like this. Just something you can see into. And you're gonna, when we feed it, it's gonna be about that big, and then you gotta give it room to rise and double. So it's gotta be decent size, but you can use any kind of glass jar, as long as it's big enough, whatever. Sometimes I use this, sometimes I use that, depending. Anyway, so put the jar on the scale, turn the scale on. It's gonna be at 0. 0 grams, do it in grams, okay? Then the first thing we do is put in 50 grams of your starter. Okay, it's about 2 tablespoons, I would say. That was 35. That's 52, so I'm gonna get a couple out. And it doesn't always have to be exactly perfect. Sometimes I don't even measure it, but since this is your first time, I'm showing you how it's done exactly right. Okay, that's 50. Messy, messy, messy. So that's why you have a paper towel. Okay, then we're gonna do 50 grams of flour. Make sure you tare, it's called tare, 0 out your scale. You just hit it on your scale, it says 0, you hit it, goes back to 0. So you'll know when you do 50, hit 50 again. I've made that mistake before. Follow along. 50. All-purpose flour. I feed mine with all-purpose flour. That's going to be another video about details with your starter. And now we're going to do 50 grams of warm water. Not too hot, but cold will make it rise a lot slower. So you just want to do it warm. Okay, probably like 80 degrees or whatever. But you don't have to measure. Oh, tare out to 0 again. Okay, 50. Not exactly 50, but it doesn't matter. Okay, you're done with that for now. Now, get a fork. See how much that made? Not that much. So any container that will do that, now it's gonna double in size. Whatever that says, it's gonna double in size. So you have to have a container that it will fit, okay? Then you just mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. It's gonna be like thick pancake batter when you're done. Okay, mix it up, mix it up. I like to get it, try to scrape it off the sides. And I'm using a fork for this. Some people use chopsticks. I've used that in the past. I have another thing, I don't even know what it is, some wood thing that I like the best, and I usually use it, but because you have a fork, we're using a fork today. Okay, mix it up till where there's no flour left. Try to scrape down the sides because you want to see, you want to be able to see from the outside. Uh-oh, bugs. You want to see from the outside. Now the key with sourdough is, my hands are clean. When dealing with it with your hands, you wet your hands because it's very sticky and it won't stick if your hands are wet, okay? Now, that's it, we fed our starter, it's activated, okay? Now, you gotta put some kind of little top on it. You don't wanna enclose it completely, but I'm gonna use a rubber band. Remember that rubber band I was talking about? You wanna put the rubber band, because your jar may not have measurements on it, so you wanna put the rubber band at the top of your sourdough, so we'll know, or this is where the dry erase marker comes in. You go, okay, that's where our sourdough was. You don't have to use both, one or the other. Now, with my starter, it usually doubles in 4 hours. It's summer, it's hot out. So 4 hours, this will probably be double, but we're gonna come back in like 2 hours just to see how far it went. So, where's my phone? I'm gonna set my alarm. I'm gonna say, set a timer for 2 hours. So I'll remember because I always forget to come back, and I've ruined many sourdough loaves because I forget to come back. So this, whatever top you use, if you're using, you can even use this. You just put something lightly over it. I've put magazines on it before because air has got to be able to escape or it'll blow the top off because sourdough is very, very strong. Okay? And I put my starter over here by my Starlink. What's this thing called? My
router.
Starlink router because it's warm. And it doesn't have to be warm, but that helps it double faster. So that's where mine is. All right, I'll see you back in 2 hours. Press pause and we'll see where yours is at too. Set a timer for 2 hours. So the reason I always put a paper towel down is obviously it's messy, but see, this doesn't have a lot of sourdough on it. So this you can just wash down the sink. Easily comes off. But this, you don't want to put a bunch of blobs down the sink because also it gets hard as a rock in your sink and it's hard to get out. So I just usually use that paper towel that I set it on and get most of it, throw it in the trash, and then just rinse it off. And then you're ready to go. Okay? Okay, it's been 2 hours. You can see how much it's risen. That's how far it's gone in 2 hours. Now, the more it rises, the faster it rises. Does that make sense? So, we'll come back in 1 hour and check it, okay? Set a timer for 1 hour. Okay, it's been an hour. It's almost doubled in size. I'm gonna give it till about up to there, but look inside. See, there's some, see that you can see bubbles forming, and then there's a few bubbles on top, and see how it's kind of smooth and glossy and domed. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little domed. That's good. We're gonna give it a little more time, maybe 30 more minutes, but I'm gonna show you when it's done, and then we can mix our dough. Okay, I think it's ready. Looks doubled. Inside, it's a little domed. I don't know if you could tell, it's slightly domed. And a little, see how jiggly it is? But it's not flat yet. You don't want it to start falling. So it's time to mix our dough. So that was about 3.5 hours. So usually it's around 4. Now we need warm water. To mix the dough, we do warm water, starter, and bread flour. So turn your scale on. First you add the water. We're gonna do 350 grams of water. Okay, 351, no big deal. You can always scoop it out if you want. Okay, then you add the starter, 100 grams of starter. Tear it out to 0, push the thing so it's 0 again, and then we're gonna do 100 grams of starter. And you'll know if your starter's ready. See how stringy it is? Stringy. And see how it's floating? That's how you know your starter's ready. So if you weren't sure, you can test a little batch in some water, and that way you'll know if it's ready. And obviously, if you accidentally put a little more, or, you know, it's not the end of the world. Don't freak out. Trust me, I went through all this when I started. It took me 2 years to actually feel comfortable doing it. Okay, that's 100 grams. Whisk the starter into the water. Just kind of combine it. Doesn't have to be whatever, see? Put it back on the scale. Tear it out to 0 again. Now we're gonna get our bread flour, and we're gonna add 500 grams of bread flour. Okay, this is for 1 loaf of bread, 1 boule. A boule, that could be a bowl. What did I say, 500? You can do, eventually you can add different flours and mix things in. Like sometimes I put whole wheat flour or whatever, but this is basic 101 sourdough. I did 502, so let's take a little out. Okay. That's it for now. So now you mix it in with the fork. Here comes the messy part. I have other tools that I use now that I've been doing this for 4 years, but this is the basics that you can just use a fork. Some people just use their hands, and we're gonna get in with our hands in a minute, but I like to start it with a fork because it's not so messy, and I don't lose so much in the process. Right now, we just wanna combine the flours and the water and then we're gonna let it sit for 30 minutes and autolyze, or autolyse, however you wanna say it. But that's just the process of the flour absorbing the water. And if you do this before you add your salt, which we're gonna add later, 30 minutes, then it's a lot easier to handle. For some reason, it makes it a lot less sticky when you're forming the gluten. Okay, remember what I said about water. That gets it right off. If you don't wet your hands, then it's a big gloppy mess. So, wet your hands. This is the fun part, just to get because see, there's still a little bit of flour. We're gonna go like this. Get in close here, filmer. I'm just gonna go around and get all the dry bits. But see how it's coming off my hand? It's still gonna stick a little, and you can always wet it a little more. And we're just gonna get it all mixed in. There. Good enough. Good enough is our motto here. Okay, so now we're gonna cover it for 30 minutes with some plastic wrap. hate plastic wrap. Ugh. Okay, so now we're letting it autolyze, or autolyse, I don't know. The French say autolyse. And the flour's gonna absorb the water, and then we add the salt in 30 minutes. So it's been 30 minutes. We've been autolyzing our dough. Now it's time to add the salt. Turn your scale on. Make sure it's at 0 grams, because some scales go through different things. You gotta make sure it's on grams. Okay, we're gonna do 10 grams of salt. Just sprinkle it across. It's about a tablespoon, I guess. There we go. Now, mixing it. Mixing it good, get it in there. It's already coming together. The gluten is forming already. See how it's a little less sticky? You want to just keep mixing it until the salt is all incorporated. Okay? Okay, that's it. Now we're gonna cover it again. See, because my hand was wet, hardly stuck on there. Cover it again, let it rest for 30 minutes more, and then we're gonna start the stretch and folds. That's the fun part. Okay, see you back in 30 minutes. Okay, whew, it's hot here today. I was outside with my chickies, feeding them some fun things. I washed my hands though. Okay, now, so for the next 2 hours, every 30 minutes, we're gonna do a set of stretch and folds. So, I'm gonna show you. These are the first stretch and fold. Get your hands wet. Okay, this is the fun part. You go around, zoom in here, you pull up one side, fold it over and push it in. Now you're gonna do quarter turns. Fold over, push it in. Get that side. See, it's already starting to stiffen up a little, that's okay. Do that, fourth side. Once you go around like that. Now some people just do that. I like to play with it a little. I like to go like this. Some people do this. I got both hands wet, so, because it makes it look pretty. Kind of forms it into a ball. Just kind of play with it a little. That's it. You're gonna do that. That's our first stretch and fold. We'll be back in 30 minutes to do our second stretch and fold. I was just in a windstorm outside. All right, second stretch and fold. Maybe get a closer zoom in. I feel like I went too fast last time, so let's get, so scoop on one side, pull up, fold over, turn the bowl, pull up, woo, fold over. You know, you don't have to be perfect. Just play with the dough a little. It's kind of like in sourdough, you don't really knead the dough, and like, then slap it. Slap and folds. That's called a slap and fold. That's fun. Slap one side, kind of fold it under, and then it turns into a little ball. Okay, that was our second one. Be back in 30 minutes for our third one. Okay, that was the third stretch and fold. Now we're doing the third stretch and fold. Sometimes you have to write it down or you get confused. One thing also, my house in here is 74 degrees. It's hot, it's summer, so you just keep this room temperature. Sometimes in the winter, doing a stretch and fold, you need to put it in a warm spot if the room is cold. Not too warm, but just to keep it warm. So can you see what I'm doing here? I'm doing, it's like each side. So I did 4 sides. It's almost like it's a square. And then you can just, now for this, the slap and fold that I like to do, you flip it over, so it's kind of like the smooth side that was facing down, and you pick it up and those sides kind of go down a little, and you kind of put one down so that it forms into a ball. Like I said, you can just do the stretch and folds, but I like to do this. This is our 3rd stretch and fold. Okay, one more stretch and fold, and then the waiting begins. Our last stretch and fold. Here we go. One side up. It's getting much more gluten-y. That's not a word. Okay, so after we do this is the tricky part. Turn it over. Not this. This isn't the tricky part. Do some more slaps. Get it into a little ball if you want. So it looks pretty. Okay. It's a little sticky. Cover it back up. Now, this is where we do the bulk rise. So I would say it takes 4 hours. Okay? This is the tricky part. No one knows exactly how long it takes. You have to look at it. But since it's your first time, let's say 4 hours. Let's check it again in 2 hours, just like we did when we fed the starter. When it starts getting jiggly, puffy, some bubbles, that's when it's ready. You don't want it to double in size, and that would be overproofed. You want to do about 50% rise. But we're going to put it in a warm place, even though the room's kind of warm. I'm going to put it next to my Starlink receiver because that's warmer. You can put it, some people put it in their oven when it's off, I guess, with the light on, but be careful because sometimes that can get overheated. So just make sure your room's warm. Find a warm spot in the sun or something. We'll check back in 2 hours. Okay, it's been about 2 hours. This is what my dough looks like. It's a little jiggly. It's got some big bubbles on top. If you look underneath, it's doming up a little. So we're gonna go maybe another 45 minutes, an hour. It needs to be lighter and airier. So we're gonna keep going, and it needs to pull away from the side easily. A little more than that. It is a sticky dough because it's high hydration, but we need to wait a little longer. So when you think your dough's ready, we'll meet back here. Give it another hour. Okay. We are done proofing. Let's take a look. Okay, it's domed. See how it's domed a little? It's risen. It didn't double in size. We don't necessarily want it to double in size because we're gonna put it in the fridge overnight and it'll keep rising very, very slowly because the fridge slows it down. See how it jiggles? It's jiggly, but not too jiggly. You don't want it so puffy like a marshmallow because that means it's overproofed. But see how it's jiggly and there's bubbles? And it pulls away a little better than it did. See? Okay. So now what we're doing is pre-shaping. So, a little bit of flour on your workspace, that flour. Okay? So it doesn't stick. That rubber dough scraper I was showing you earlier helps get it out, but you can also do it without it, just with your hand. Can you see what I'm doing? You might want to scrape around the sides. Okay. Nice puffy dough. Now we're going to do what it's called an envelope shape. This is where this comes in handy, by the way. Gets a little flour under, but what you're going to do is take one side, fold it over like an envelope. It's a little sticky. Take another side, fold it over, pinch it together. More flour. Get this side. Fold it like that. You don't want to use too much flour because then it won't stick together. Okay? Pinch it together. And then we're going to let it rest for 30 minutes. Flip it back over. And then we're going to go like this. This is, you're just trying to make it, you're forming tension on the top so that it will rise and get some good, what they call oven spring. I got a little flour on me. Okay, so we're pre-shaping, 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 forming it into a ball. Then we're going to let it rest for 30 minutes. Then we do the real shaping. We pre-shaped, we let it rest. Now it's time to do the final shaping. We got to prepare our bowl. Put a lot of flour in it because this is what it's going to sit in overnight. So you want to flour dust that. Okay, put a little more on the counter since we're about to shape. Okay. Get some on my hands. Don't know why that's going off. Okay, so we're gonna flip it over, back over, okay? And basically just do the same thing we did when we were pre-shaping. Get this jiggly thing over, okay? Now, pull one side up, envelope shape. We wanna form a tightness because that's what's going to help it get the rise. Pinch it a little. Now we're going to get this side. Get this side and fold it over. Get this side, fold it over. Try to get it, stick it together. Clamp it. Clamp these sides shut. Pinch them, okay. It's a kind of a semi-ball. Get a little more flour over here. Flip it back over and get that ball shape going. You want a tight ball, okay? After you do this, we're just gonna put it upside down. We're gonna have the ugly side up in that, okay? And that's what's gonna sit in overnight, okay? Put it in there gently. There you go. Maybe put a little more flour on top, just so this doesn't stick. lightly cover it. And now it goes in the fridge till the morning. Don't look at my fridge, it's really messy. Oh, can't fit. Okay, night night. Good morning. Okay, we get to bake today, yay. All right, first you gotta get your parchment paper and your Dutch oven. And we gotta put parchment in this, a big piece, because you want to have handles. When your bread's done, you're going to lift it out using the parchment. So first we got to shape the parchment to the pot. It actually helps if you wrinkle the whole thing, squish it up and then do it, but I do it this way. So you got little handles, see? I do them opposite of the pot handle so it's easier to lift out. Okay, so we have it shaped. Now we set it aside. Now we gotta preheat the oven with the top on, with the Dutch oven in the oven. Okay? Look at my beautiful oven. So this has to be in the middle or middle lower, obviously, so you'll have room. Because after a few minutes, you're gonna take the top off and you gotta be able to reach in without burning yourself on the top. Okay? Put the pot in the oven. You're gonna heat that in the oven with the oven as you preheat it. So bake at 450 degrees. Okay? I like to turn my oven light on so I know something's in it. Okay, so when that's done preheating, I'll meet you back here. My oven's preheated. Let's get the dough out of the fridge. We're gonna open it up. See, take it out. Remember, that's the ugly side. Hopefully it won't stick. And then we're gonna turn it upside down onto the parchment paper, okay? Get it out. Oop. Take the towel off. All right, it didn't stick. We floured it enough. Okay, it's not exactly in the center, but that's okay. Doesn't bother anyone. You can move it. Don't want to mess with it too much. Okay, now we got to score the dough. Now, this is the best thing to score the dough with. But if you don't have that, let's try it with a knife. It's going to be a little more difficult, but I'm going to get some of these chunks of flour off or not. Okay. There's lots of designs you can do. Basic, easy first design, 1 slash. See, this isn't really working. You want it to be kind of deep. Yeah, that knife is not that sharp. All right, let's use a razor. See how much easier it is? Okay. Now let's get the hot pot out of the oven. Don't forget your oven mitts, because it's hot. Keep the heat in the oven. It's still at 450. I'm going to take the top off and put it over here so I don't burn myself. Now, get your parchment. Remember, we want the handles opposite the handles, so it's easier. Zoom in there, please. Don't burn yourself. It's a little wrinkled. good enough, right? It's our first time. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be good enough. All right, put the top on. Okay, now we're gonna put the oven on, lower it to 425. Okay, and put it in. Now the top is very important for the first part. It steams it, it captures the steam in there. So you're gonna do 20 minutes with the top on at 425, okay? Okay, that was 20 minutes. Now, all we gotta do is take the top off. Don't burn your arm. It's starting to rise. Okay, now set the timer for 30 minutes. And then it's done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Finally, this process is over. Ooh, I'm hungry. It smells so good. Oh, I'm starving. Okay. Cancel. Okay. So this is why we have handles. Be very careful. Sometimes the parchment tears. You want to get it out as soon as possible, because if it stays in there, it'll steam and it won't be crusty. It'll be not good. And then if you're tough like me, you can just take it off the parchment, and you want to put it on a rack, a cooling rack, so it's not touching the ground, so the air can circulate around it. And everybody says you gotta wait an hour before you cut it to let it rest. But Jason has never, ever, ever let it go past 10 minutes, maybe 15 is the max that he's ever let it rest before cutting into it. Who doesn't love warm bread, right? But it stays warm for a long time. But you want the inside, if you cut it too soon, like if I cut it right now, the inside would just collapse, kind of. I mean, it wouldn't collapse, but it's just more moist and soggy. But see this? Zoom in on this. You want it to be crusty like that on the outside, and soft on the inside. Okay, we gotta wait like 10 or 15 minutes, and we're gonna cut into it. It's been about 20 minutes, so let's cut it open. It's still warm. Get a good sharp bread knife. Oh, baby, crusty. How's it look? Yummy. It's still steamy. Okay, let's cut some and eat it. I'm starving. Enjoy. If you have any questions, call me. There's a lot of info out there about sourdough.
You're scratching your arm.
So
like
I want it to be natural. Follow this video and you will, why are you moving your mouth?
I'm smiling.
You're like trying to help me. Okay.
I'm
just gonna be like, follow this video.
Bullet
you can
points.
make, I know.
Bullet points. Think bullet points, okay?
I'm not good at this.
You're like flourish and what?
I know,
using words you don't even use.
I don't know, I couldn't think of the right word.
Think bullet points.
What time is it?
Whatever time it is, we're gonna be here all day.
All right, something you probably don't have is a scale. All right, this is not working. That wasn't, oh. That's my clock. That was my granddad's clock. It means a lot to me.